Back in 2019, a 3-part miniseries called The War of the Worlds was produced in Britain by the British Broadcasting Corporation, and which marked the beginning of British television adaptation of the Martian invasion novels. Now, the series is an adaptation of the H.G. Wells' 1898 novel of the same title. The Martians in the novel were at least assumed to have motivations similar to mankind, with the aim of eradicate Earth rather than kill human beings. Here, humanity and all terrestrial life are being eliminated altogether. After the end, the series jumps forward to the so-called Red World several years after the Martian invasion. Anyways, within this, a simple question arose, and in fact this was a contentious issue, just as it does happen in the world we are living today. Why fight for empires when you can build your own? Welcome to my channel. My name is Victor, the author of the Fire Soldier series of novels. In the BBC miniseries, a conversation starts between 3 compatriots. Colonel Mustafa says, "The soldiers belonging are gone, their rations as well." Catherine Durad asks, "Where would they have gone?" Colonel Mokrani responds that likely to their families. A soldier is someone from a certain armed force, in this case, let me specify private military contractors, who is highly trained and motivated to represent the interests of his organization. But what happens when the soldier decides to make use of their skills not to safeguard the interest of his boss, but for ulterior motives? The particular soldier is then said to have gone rogue. Cambridge Dictionary defines rogue as an adjective meaning behaving in ways that are not expected or not normal, often in a way that causes damage. So that going rogue makes these highly trained individuals very dangerous with the training they have from their time in military service, especially if they work with dissenting factions. Now, they may also choose to strike on their own as hired guns like private contractors. However, what most of us don't realize is that it's not always the case that anyone who goes rogue is automatically a bad person. Sometimes they only do so if the faction they have been serving is bad and rotten to the core. So that if they do that, then they are defectors from a decadence, turncoats, or people who decide to bail while they still can. For a while now, we've been in a scene where a sniper shooter, who of course we shall come to understand is a dissident of the faction that did train him, undertakes to kill Professor Wilhelm Gutenberg just after his having been briefed of the so-called Mission G-Prof. So stick around a little longer and you'll find out how the gunfire that ensues ends. Now let's proceed from where we left in the previous episode, that is episode number 37. As you're not prepared to hear me out, John, I'll conduct myself straight away out of this mess, she said, that is Amanda. I clasped my gun. She stared at me. Amanda, I said, I don't doubt you. The fact is, this is confusing. I withdrew to consider everything anew. Sure, I'm afraid yes. You really are a son of a bitch, aren't you? I'm not exactly who you think I am, Amanda, I said. Strong instincts suggestive of conspiracy don't deceive me. God, your figures look awesome. My father is a butcher. If you are attracted to me, you end up as dead as Mr. Raphael Jones. I detected almost immediately a change in her face, but made not any attempt to disturb it. I had drawn correct conclusions, or so it seemed. Experience taught me I should allow her time to submit to my abstraction before I could venture further. Too bad there was no time for that. Would it be justified, Amanda, I said, shifting my gun to my left hand as though it had burnt my right, if I should treat you as an accomplice? A pause in our exchange followed. If you put it that way, sir, she said. The shooter was my comrade at the university. What university, I assume? I almost lost my mind. To that, she replied, You very well heard me, sir, and stood stock still before me, abstaining from speaking until I calmed down. She had appealed to satisfy my suspicion thus far. I'm certain the C5's secret chain hasn't spared you either, right or wrong? Correct, sir? Here she gazed. I answered with a sheepish smile. And that you mean harm to me and Mr. Professor. She stole glances at my gun and clenched her fist as though she would fix me right away. Incorrect, sir, she said. Convince me otherwise. You must be new in this city, sir, she said, clasping a bottle of vodka in her hand and shaking it up as though she would pass it to me. For your information, the cops hunt down this sociopath day in, day out, so if you think you are immune to death, pursue that maniac without my help. Amanda, I said, is that all you can tell me? A sniper appears on the BRD blacklist, moves around killing college professors, and a chest thump is the only intel you commit to my ears. John, she said. What else should I say? Yes, that maniac is a friend of mine, alright, a well-trained operative of a private organization called MX-17 Geneva Clock of Switzerland. The man has gone dark, is that so? It is. Get tangled with the MX-17 and your life will never be the same again. The man has no family. He killed them all. I see. About 5 years ago, said Amanda, Humboldt University expelled him for blowing up the physics experiment chamber with a hand grenade. He now hunts down professors and kills them as revenge. Just yesterday, Mr. Godfrey Franklin, a powerful leader of the Russian Brotherhood, hired him to take down Professor Wilhelm Gutenberg before he could retire at his apartment in readiness for the X-Files quest. Now come, Amanda, but of course that comes with a reward. For how much in exchange? 5 million euros cash, she said. Think fast, Mr. Taylor. You've been under someone's watch for decades. That should open your eyes. Every second counts. It is by accident that in the ensuing gunfight, Dr. John Taylor bumps into Evie Amanda. Amanda, as John discovers, is not who he thought she was. In fact, she seems to be a double agent well acquainted with the sniper shooter John and his men undertakes to pursue. That marks the end of my today's episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to support the channel. Auf Wiedersehen.